So, like, looks like they just a few months after hitting France, they're going to go after this other place, Venezuela. Um, Hell, shit's on the rise for sure, isn't it? So, people are all like, they just want the oil of Venezuela. And it's like, I don't think so, dude. It's not about oil. Anyone telling you that's just lying to you. It's about just stealing the land, and you got to kill the people of the land too, or they come back. It's, it's what it's always been about. What's up? What do you mean they announced the teams? All right, they got to give me a warning. Now I get a warning. Warning, don't interact with chat because you might say stuff that they want you to say that get you banned. What do you mean teams? What, like, are you talking about for some sporting event? Probably. So, anyways, it's not about oil. It's about just them, like the empire stealing lands. It's like the UK and America are like the same empire they've always been, just acting the same way they always have. And they're just trying to steal everything they can find. Ah, shit, I didn't even plug that in properly. I think I can do it. So, I don't know why people think it's about oil. I mean, I guess I know why, because the TV keeps telling them that, and they don't care about anything else except for what the TV says. And of course, there's the whites are like busy blaming everything on the Jews. They're like, "Oh, the Jews did it. The Jews did it." That's all you gotta say. And like that was Trump coming into power, just like, just say Jews for everything. Like, oh, you pooped your diaper this morning. Oh, the Jews did it. Oh, name the Jew. Name the Jew. We named him. It's the Jew. JW. Oops, already getting into that can't say. Already bypassing that warning there that it told me not to say anything. Yeah, Patrick Luttle's still around. I have no idea. I haven't seen it. He was just there to like probably like to planch it for like a presidential election or something. Seemed kind of irrelevant, but just like there's as a pause in between the GDL and the alt right, which is like the same group just with a different name. So yeah, they opposed Israel. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So now Venezuela has to go. They they don't give Israel money. They don't. They stop giving Israel free money, and they stop supporting Israel's crap. So they have got to go. And plus, like a secondary reason is not even oil. Oil is just what you steal from war to fund the war. It's not worth going to war just for oil. So it's like right there, like America, USA, white supremacy, whatever you want to call the empire, because it's not USA. It comes from like Europe. That's why like UK's helping rob them because it's the same people. The UK just acts like a bitch, like but they're really like still control shit. So they need that land because they just keep stealing. Like they spread out, like mold does. As it destroys whatever it's eating, it spreads out. USA is just like an arm of the empire. It's not an empire. It's just an arm of an empire. It's like it probably is just like UK still pulling their America's strings, just and they probably staged a revolution. But it's obviously like a republic wouldn't have to like keep stealing land across the world. That's like what empire does. So they need that land because it's a strategic military operation zone to keep out all the people who they kicked out of the land 100 years ago or so, and or like 300 years ago. So apparently they haven't fully taken over Russia and China and South America, although they have taken over a lot of South America already. They already run the media down there. But I think they know that. I think people like Chavez and stuff probably know what they're dealing with to some extent because they wouldn't just like openly oppose Israel for the sake of being cool and suffering problems from that, like America like stealing your gold or UK stealing your gold, and it's just they need that land. I mean, they need all land. They need all people's money, like because the empire can't ever fund itself, so it has to just steal money to fund itself because it can't. Like most of its population becomes decadent and all that and does nothing, and then the outside populations are like the slaves, and the slaves eventually get tired of being slaves, like the blacks did. So then they become citizens, and they aren't doing any extra. They aren't slaving anymore. They don't feel the need to slave anymore. So an empire always has to steal more money to fund what they already have, and the only way they can do that is by stealing the land too. But then they need the land for defense down there because it keeps them unwanted people out. It like it creates a border where you can have the military, because you can't military attack from water to ground. So it's like hostile in those areas. Like they've taken over the Puerto Rico area and all that, even though they don't want to claim it. They do when they want to, when it's politically strategic for them. They can take that and say, "Hey, Puerto Rico's ours." But if it's just like talking about what a shithole it is, they're like, "Yeah, it's not ours. We tried to help them," but Puerto Rico's like right between there, so it's just obvious. They've been spreading that way for a while, and getting down there also allows them to like surround Mexico eventually, so they can take over Mexico. And then I mean, but it's all about just expanding more and more. It's just like it's almost like just expands on its own. Like they need to steal more and more. I mean, it's been expanding for like 5,000 years. It went from like the center of the earth to like the north to the east to the west, and now it's trying to go to like the south. But it's always kind of been in the south to some extent. Like in Africa, it's weird how like I think they have such great control of Africa that they don't need to like even be there to control it. They just control it, and there's no reason for them to be there. But they still put like one or two farmers there to make it look like whatever. And I know what they do with the farmers. They're like, "Oh look, they're killing us. They're genociding us. This is our land, Africa." Kind of like they do every nation there, and they're like, "They're genociding us. So this is our land. We just stole it from them. It's our land now." And so that's just apparent then that South America is not fully under control by the aliens and the white supremacists, because they wouldn't have to like be killing the leaders if they were fully in control of it. And apparently that dude sided with Chavez, with Hugo. So that's been like 20 years or something. That they've been like saying evil things about Israel or refusing to pay tribute to Israel for like over 20 years. And at first they were like on the side of Israel. So that, you know, that really gets noticed. If you just like would have opposed them from the start, it wouldn't get noticed. But if you like, if you're on their side and then you're like, well, we're gonna stop like giving you free money and stuff, and so you can, because you're the king and we have to give you, you know, tithes and offering. So when your slave stops being a slave, that's more alarming than when your slave refused to be a slave in the first place. So it's like this person is weak enough to be a slave. So we've got to show them that they need to remember to act like a slave. Oh yeah, dude. I hear cartels are bad on the TV. They're evil, man. Sounds like the cartels sound like it's like the government. Sounds like it's our government. Probably is. I doubt it. I don't know. Fucking, I've never met them, so I've never met any cartel members. Oh yeah, well, I guess I have met FBI, right? So I have met some cartel members. I've met plenty of police and FBI, so I've met cartel members out the wazoo, I guess. Just not the cartel specifically designates brown, like a light tan brown skin, like kind of like terrorists generally designates like a light tan type of Middle Eastern shade. But the cartel basically means Mexican, and terrorist basically means Arab. So you gotta have those different words for them and shit. You can't just call them niggers. That's offensive. You can't just say go kill them niggers. You gotta be like, kill the terrorists for America, hoorah, and kill them cartel. Kill those urban kids. So it just sounds like they're about to take them over. That's really weird. Like shit's escalating, or it's just maybe it's always been this way. But I thought it was like every 3 years they overthrow a new nation. But now it's like they're like trying to topple France's government, like, and then 6 months after, like 3 months basically after that shit began, they're like talking about toppling these people, like, and that's like it's pretty gutsy for them to go after such big nations to begin with. Yet alone, like once every 3 months, like these people are probably operating in the background, fucking, and like really discussing how to deal with America, and it's probably like scaring the fuck out of everyone. So they were probably all like trying to figure out what to do. Like, oh, this Russiagate distraction ain't distracting no one. FBI's talking with Trump like, God damn it, how can we distract these idiots? It's not working. It's not working enough. Like, we got to go to war though. Like, we got to steal money and stuff. We're running out of stolen money, so we need some more, or else we're going to have less stolen money. And I don't know, man. Looks kind of crazy. It's the same people as always, at the top of it. But this time it's just you have the people who are against them, the neo-Nazis, are like working with them. So you can't trust none of the white supremacists because they are. None of them are like they're just groups. They're like shouting, "I'm supreme! I'm supreme! I'm supreme! Let's have babies! I need babies!" Because they need babies to fucking send them to kill the Venezuelans and shit to take over their land, like they're doing with Palestine and the entire Middle East. So it really is them working with the Nazis. The other Nazis, the ones the Nazis killed in in Fables. So, yeah, that really pissed people off too, talking about that shit. So, like, I think I've been banned from everywhere I can think of for just recently for talking of white supremacists. You're not allowed. That's the new word you're not allowed to talk about because that's the ruling elite in play at the time. So you can't insult that group, or at least the media will tell you can, or whatever. It'll lock you out of all their websites and stuff. It really is like the humans fucking can't think. It's like they just like reprogram within 24 hours. Maybe during the sleep process or something, the humans are like fucking beam down transmissions from alien waves or something. I swear they couldn't tell you what happened on TV, most of them. Like, I don't know, that's weird. I find that weird. They can repeat that shit if they're learning it from TV so well. Like, I can't learn shit from TV that well. So, the UK's in on it. And they, of course, are just the little butt buddy of America, although maybe there's other stuff going on, and America's the little butt buddy of the UK still. So they're always like, every time they're trying to go take over another country, they're always just like working together and stuff. And of course, Israel works together, but then at the same time, like, you see, like, Russia plays games with America to help deceive the rest of the world. Like, they're acting like these are like Russia's friends, but at the same time, Russia plays along with this Trump butt out, sold America out to Russia thing. You could just be like, no, he didn't, but he doesn't. He's not like, oh, Trump's family's all Jewish. And he doesn't say anything like that. He's like, it's not the Russians, it's the Israelis. At the end of the day, RT plays along into all those Jewish fables, so they obviously are them in line. So, it's probably the UK, USA, Russia, China working to like take over, in India working to take over the other parts of the world. You don't really hear about South America too much, so that means they don't like them because they'll only advertise the people they want to be famous. And being famous makes your nation profitable and financially stable. So they never talk about South America. I think they're just in the process of taking it over. And it's probably harder to take. It seems to be hard for them to take over brown people's nations, like, finalize the conquering of them. And for some reason, it was pretty easy for them to get rid of red people, but other people, who knows? Who knows, like, what the thing is, but they, like, fight back for the land and shit. So it's harder for them to get this stuff, like, south of the hemisphere. Or whatever you think it is, south of the paper plate. Earth. Hey guys, what's your guys' opinion on that? Is Earth a paper plate, or is it a giant ice cube? Is it the shape of a paper plate? Does it have rims on it? I'm just fucking around. You don't really have to. I don't know what Cerium 525 is. Is that like some mineral they need to steal there? I'm sure there's plenty of minerals. It costs money to go to war, so you steal all resources during war, and it doesn't fund the campaign. It's not you don't go to war for resources unless it's extreme. You go to war for steal land and to kill people. That's the best thing war does is it kills people. and then you can just bury the bodies and live on that land. So it's a strategic naval base, naval port to open up the door to invade South America as well. Not that they haven't done that before. I bet most of the people in South America are like people that the Spanish and their Spanishburg friends uh, raped and produced. That's where the Catholicism comes from. It is those people. So they just took on the They didn't just take on the slave master's religion. They took on the slave master's blood too. They probably killed everyone who wouldn't have sex with them. They made up a whole bunch of wild stories to kill people. Like, if you don't believe in Jesus, we gotta kill you for so you're not Satan, because you're Satan if you don't believe in Jesus. So I would assume, like, one of their legit reasons was just to kill people, steal their land, and part of the only reasons you keep people alive during wars is to take a sex slave. So that's what most of those people are. It seems like a lot of people in the California. I don't even see why people are like so upset. Like, oh, they're coming back into their land. Build a wall so they don't come back. And it's like, well, hey, they're half you. You should be happy about it, right? They're like, you know, fucking not even like Mexican or South American. They're like Catholic, and that's not their shit. That's something else. So they're just gonna probably kill this dude like they do everyone else. And he talks about how they were after him for a long time. Even he says, like Trumpberg and his white supremacist friends fucking put in some people who were working against Castro in a different manner at the time, but then put him into office when Trumpberg went into office. Trumpler, that's a good name for him. I can't believe it's still like it's the alt-righters are still like, they're not Nazis. It's like they have people like actually convinced of that. And then of course the liberals are controlled by the same people, so they don't like talk about anything intelligent. And so they can't prove that it's the Nazis, that's who the Trumpers are. Even though you can, and it's like right there in the open, it's like really easy to see. So it's like, man, I don't even think they allow my videos to like get out to a general populace, do they? Kind of like how they edit me fucking in the media and stuff and ban me from all the websites. Like, they don't actually let this stuff get out there, do they? They have like a special government task force or something, government regulated box, penalty box for people who like don't go along with either the left, right, or the center narratives, or the outside narrative that they allow, right? They don't allow you to combine the things each group has that they offer, and then to deduct the trash from each one. Like, you either have to be a diehard, whatever, left, right, libertarian, whatever, or else you just get silence, man. I'm pretty sure they do something to alter these accounts that they allow me to talk on. and I'm pretty sure that's like isolating me and stuff. I'm quite sure they wouldn't allow this stuff to like get shown to normal people. Especially the weird thing was with Facebook, like just like looking back, it's like so weird, and it's like it took me forever to notice it too. Like they never like suggested. I don't think like any black people to me on Facebook. Even after I added my one friend to just see it and trying to add some other people. Um, it's weird. Fucking bet you they do that with the YouTube shit as I'm pretty sure they do that with the YouTube shit. Well, um, like Google has the analytics, so you can get around that to some extent, but you have to, be trying to get around it sometimes to get around it. And I can get around it. On Facebook, it seems a lot harder. Like I couldn't just find some random groups that I'm not part of to add. But on YouTube, if you like tell its algorithm to shut up a few times, it will like kind of change. But then it just loops you back into some more government shade people. Like some people were just like government worshippers, like people were swear up and down they're fighting for good people and they're not working with the government. And then the next government narrative that comes out, they're like, "Oh, I love these people." They're like, it's the government. They put a mask on, and you don't know who it is, and they're just it's on TV, dude. And he's like, "No, I hate you. I didn't see it on TV. I seen it on the internet. It was real. I swear." Yeah, I also seen Terminator 4 on the internet. It was real as fuck. So, I mean, who am I telling this to? Who doesn't know this really? It's like the only people who don't know this are people like stuck in a transition period where you're like falling for their tricks, the Nazi the Jewsies tricks, and you're like, hey, let's blame Jews for a minute, and then it's still the same thing, or it's just like the same shit's gonna happen. You can blame whoever they want to. Like when they put Obama in office, like they tried to have people blame Arabs. Like they're like Obama's an Arab, he's an Arab, and it's like yep. He's an Arab. He's an Arab. He looks like an Arab because he's got that non-white skin. That's what Arabs look like. Yep. Yep. And then you had Trump in on that shit too. I mean, because he's just an actor on TV. So, I mean, I guess he's a superior race according to Jews. Fucking. So maybe he really is not an actor. Maybe he's something else. Maybe he's like a programmer. He programs robots, billions of them a day. With every word he says, he programs a billion robots out there. He really does do that. It's like it's like giving someone some updates and shit, and they instantly like all the so-called humans will instantly like repeat like the same fucking lines, like, and they're not smart enough to fucking remember shit that consistently. No fucking way. That like they would have scored better in school if they could have remembered that shit so consistently. Like it's like fucking amazing how many of the Trump slogans you see out there, because it's just like, wow, word for word, situational awareness. You like know when to use this Trump slogan. You can spell it. You don't mix the words up at all. Like if people scored that good, if people could do all that shit, um, they would have got a lot higher fucking scores in school because they could have like word for word remember what the fuck's going on, and it wasn't that hard. School wasn't word for word. It was like you barely had to remember shit to get by in school. It was mostly like fill in the blank. Like you really didn't have to remember anything to get a good grade. But when it comes to these political slogans, they're like word for word for word, word for word for word, and you're like, damn. I mean, it's like a total red flag because of like you're repeating like this exact same slogan, and you're like, what the fuck, man? Like after you see it so long, you like you think they're retarded, but then you think that's like some of the smartest shit you've ever seen because normally the people can't remember shit like that. They can't. If they could, they would have. Everyone would have got all A's in school. Fucking, it wasn't even that hard at school. Uh, so it's like, yeah, you gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it. It's amazing how like the stuff they show you at school where they just set you in a class and you're beside people and no one learns anything, and then all of a sudden they wake up or they watch a TV show, they go to sleep and wake up, something like that, and word for word they can repeat these slogans, and you often like, I mean, sometimes it's like really that's all they know how to say too as well. It's like, wow, like that makes it even worse. It's like it doesn't even sound like you could like say "Make America Great Again," you know, like prop like in a word format that sounds like correct grammar, right? Like making it great and always and forever. You know, like that's kind of what you expect from someone like, oh, it's so great, America, so again. I mean, I don't expect them to formulate fucking full sentences when they, or proper sentences. That's not a full sentence. Not that I'm saying that's a full sentence. What's up? But it's weird how like the political robots can do all that shit. I mean, that's good memorization. I don't have such memorization skills, and I could get fucking good grades on tests. But again, tests weren't even that fucking hard. So saying "Make America Great Again" and like being able to say it over and over and over and over accurately, it's like wow, that's like an achievement. Fucking and like you know you want to make fun of people for doing that because it just sounds so stupid because they say it constantly. But if you realize it's just like they say that well, like accurate, over and over, repetitive. They never get it wrong. They're never great America again or something like that. Just always make America great again. MAGA. And they can remember that. They can remember that as a word too. And that's like surprising because the word MAGA is like kind of dumb and pointless, and it's not like something that's already stored in anyone's head. Like no one uses the word mega, so even any word close to it is not used, but somehow they say that word, and you're like, what the? Well, I guess not everyone's like that. It took a while for me to see it, but it's like, wow, that's a skillful of you to remember that fucking word, fucking MAGA. I can't remember all the acronyms and shit. No one else came from school, but they'll remember fucking. They'll remember MAGA from Trump, and they remember it like that too. Like overnight, they wake up the next day going, MAGA, 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 MAGA. Make it great again. Make it great. Make it great. Make it great. It's like, but they don't remember shit that they were set down in front of a teacher to learn for like years on end, over and over. But they can do that. I can't think of any liberal fucking cheerlead calls, dog whistles. Cheerleading calls is more accurate because you don't just blow a million dog whistles. You blow it and they come running. And the MAGA thing is it's kind of like a crowd cheering, like hoorah, MAGA, 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 MAGA. So to make America great again, we're gonna have to. I apparently I gotta watch how I word stuff. I might get sued, end up in prison. So it's because they need to go over there and make Venezuela great again. Make it white again. Even though it was probably never white to begin with. But it doesn't matter. And of course I gotta put a disclaimer, it doesn't matter to them because the Nazis will report my fucking video on the basis that I say what their plans are in words that they only say in secret behind fake accounts and to their families. So, because in the public light, they don't come out and say this shit. They go MAGA, 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 MAGA. Like Donald Trump doesn't come out and go out there, I'm tired of these black people not being our slaves anymore. I'm tired of Venezuela not being our slaves. You can tell God made them our slaves because they're not white-ish like I am. Although I think I see the president over here, Nicolas Maduro over here arguing. I look kind of white too. Yeah, Trump, don't kill him, Trump. He doesn't look like, charcoal black. Come on, man. Come on, man. You don't steal his land. But at the end of the day, it's not just about getting rid of them and getting the military base. The first thing that all these people that have been attacking recently have in common is that they stop paying tribute to Israel. So once you stop paying tribute to Israel, then the media stops. The media starts like posting media about how much oil you have or don't have and all this stuff. So like begin to set a narrative up. So when they go back, it doesn't look like the war is because they stopped paying tribute and giving tithings to Israel. They have changed it and set up the narrative so willing white supremacists go in and take over the nation because oil and stuff like this. And so what happens is you have the Republicans who want the war, who are the white supremacists, and they want the war, and they want those people removed from Earth because they're not white. They want their land because it's land, and if white people aren't on it, someone else might be on it. And also, they've been against America. They've been against Israel. It's a good military base. It's a very specific military base location. Very important to have. Very strategic. Very, 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 very. That is like the most important build the wall strategic location there is. Instead of building a wall, Trump wants to kill them all. That is that's not the wall's goal. The wall's goal is to maintain what you have already stolen and to keep that running. And then at the same time, it's also to keep the white slaves in because, I'm sure they've noticed as they increase their activities that the rest of the world fucking sees and acts accordingly. So, building the wall also walls the people in. Like, who is not an enemy of the state? Well, cowards or may not be, but most people have done something that the state sees you as an enemy. If you've been in the military, you're a well-trained person who could fucking deal them some drama. You are their enemy, even though most military people might, especially people still in the military, maybe not now, think the military is them and working for them, and it's just you are their tool. That is simply all it is. A tool of the nation. And they have this same thing over and over and over. That's how the empires move. That's how it exists. That's how it's here now. That's how it was here then. It was just continuing to steal more and more and take more and more, and then they lose a little bit, and then they take a lot more, and more and more and more, and then they lose a little bit. So even if you like participate in getting America on its knees, they've already set up for the next empire, and they've openly said it's going to be Israel. But that could just be another distraction of theirs, and because they clearly work with the BRICS nations as well. But and clearly they work with us, so it's a possibility they're just going to hand it off. I don't know if Israel's so important. It just killing these people south of the border seemed to be really hard for them. Like, they've been trying for thousands of years to steal all the land to the south of the equator, and they just can't do it, it seems. Or it's even like a game where they just act like they're not in control. Because it's like in Africa, they act like they're not in control, but they already, the white colonialism took it over a long time ago. And then, I don't know, and then when it suits their agenda, they act like they are in control. But they, for the most part, act like they're not. And they want you to think they don't control Africa, and there's some sort of black nation out there, which wouldn't be Africa, because Africa's a continent, but they don't teach you that. They just call black people Africans. And African Americans too, which is neither is accurate, I guess. America is, depending on who you ask, America is either a white nation or it's a native Indian nation. And if you ask white people, America is a white nation, so you can't be that. And if you ask the people who owned land before that, then they'll probably tell you they were the real Americans. You can speak with the dead, you can talk with them about that. So, it's just more of the same shit. I'm surprised they don't kill me one day. They probably already tried several times, right? So, I'd seen that with Bezos. He's like they seem to be like blackmailing them through the media. And he was with some, like, the woman involved with his blackmail looks like one of the people that they sent into my life. And I didn't even notice it for a minute, like the connection. I was just like, wow, she looks hot. I was like, she looks like so and so. And, she looks like Laura fucking, and, and see, that's odd. It's like fucking, that person always made a lot of excuses. They were like, you don't like the way I look. And it's like, here I am, like, seeing some person who, like, I thought looked hot. And I was like, well, that looks like this person. But that person was just weird as fuck. And it's like weird that Bezos is being involved in some sort of blackmail extortion scheme involving a person who looks pretty similar to that. it's hard to tell when you've had plastic surgery who you were before. I guess sometimes you can really end up looking like another person, but um, if you still look like someone just with more plastic surgery, you never know. So, yeah, there's actually a lot of shit going on, but it's like, who am I talking to sometimes? I don't even know, man. There's like the only people who ever communicate on my page, like one of my oldest viewers, like started saying those like government lines and shit after like 8 years of trying to spend a lot of my time talking. I mean, like they were trying to, personal talk to me and shit. And like it always felt weird and shit. And then they come out with this fucking government shit all of a sudden, like weird lines and shit they shouldn't have said. It's like, makes me wonder who the fuck am I ever even talking to. I know on Facebook it's like I don't think anyone was ever educated by me. Fucking, there's some Finnish dude I met. And he's like seems to be the only dude who fucking understands anything. Like, and this after like well over 10 years of them being involved in it and shown the facts. They just the other people don't seem to be able to care. They just want to do what the TV tells them. But for some reason, that other guy like didn't. Then again, I didn't understand his language very well, but he seemed to like not go with whatever else everyone else was saying. That's just weird when one of my oldest viewers fucking turned that way. So, but I had seen that before on Facebook and shit. Like those people are stuck like 10 years in the past, like they're like robots or like computer software or something. And although some of them say Trump and stuff, but it's like I don't know, dude. It's like they're it's like some weird shit's going on, some unhuman shit. I just figure the rest of the world eventually is going to have to put America down because it's either them or America, and they know that. They just the ones who can do it. You can't really just outright attack America or anything because the little bitches are all on their side. Like I mean, look, UK, Australia, all this shit's going to be backing, getting rid of Venezuela. And they're saying China and Russia's not going to be, and it's going to be on their side, but that never happens that way. They say the same thing about Israel, but again, it's just these humans repeating fucking whatever they're being told. Their slogans, their worship, their cheerleading slogans and shit. And RT really isn't not on America's side. It changes as needed. Actually, it was something different like 5 years ago. It was pretty much like a liberal rag when Obama was in office, and then it was like now it was like a liberal commie rag when Obama was in office, and almost like in a week, it could have been minutes, could have been seconds. I don't know the exact time it happened, but within a week like everyone on the internet seemed to change from a commie to a Nazi, and like their media didn't, but mostly they did. Like you can see that with David Icke. It's like weird. Like I don't know, man. I don't think I've ever been interacting with a real human too, who does that. Like in real life, like people on the internet aren't real. Fucking don't mean to offend any fake people on any fake accounts on the internet, but there's this other thing they call real life, and it's weird compared to this shit. Wow, it's way different than all this talking to a phone type deal. But they're just gonna fucking try to take it over as they have to take over everyone. There's a mud flood. What's the conspiracy? What is God destroying America? I don't know about a mud flood. So I'm just going over my notes here before I close this down. So it's like really nothing real, new, nothing new at all. Like that's why the media is jumping straight to saying it's a war for oil because like everyone's like instantly going to, well, the so-called liberals, which I don't think there are any liberals. All the bots had to be paid to fucking become Republicans to make Trump look legit. How many bots they hire to create all the accounts on the internet, 50 or 100 or whatever. Fucking they're all right wing, but it's really nothing new. Them just trying to steal the land to keep stealing land because they steal all the land, starting with the land right beside them and around them. And that's why Russia and Venezuela is immediate because they're it's right there, and then any land around Israel, it's right there. Any land around UK, it's right there. You got to steal it. You got to take it over if they get out of hand. And him opposing Israel, it's just like it's to like white people like Israel isn't much because they own they've taken over so many nations. So, like white people control Africa, they control Europe, they control North America, they control Russia, they control probably more than that, right? Fucking all the Middle East apparently, fucking. So there's like what two places they don't control. I don't know who controls China. So I'll say China and South America. They don't control those two places, and it just seems to be that they're upset that they don't control something, and they want to play with that toy, and mostly because there's other people who want to play with the toy. The people already live on the toy, but they just want to take it. But I believe the alien masters have a different agenda. I mean, it's not that they're good people because they're working for the alien masters. It's just that they have masters. It's the only real fucking reason to care about the Jews who own the media and know all that. Is basically so you can learn that they're lying to you on whatever side you're on. And so then you learn, even if you are aware, it's like white USA is white supremacy in action. Even if you are aware of that, like the liberals are, you have to understand who their masters are. And they're your masters too. So then you have to, stop listening to massa. You got to be a bad slave. You got to get on the Underground Railroad and get the fuck out of town, the fuck out of Dodge. But I think it's going to get worse for whites mostly because they're going to have to like resort to enslaving themselves, like they're doing with France. They're like robbing France, like they did with Germany. Fucking, they're just going to resort to robbing themselves because no one else is going to allow them to rob them. I'm not sure what South America can do. I don't think there's a lot of shit. Like they can only steal so much resources. Like that doesn't even fund your campaign. So it's not about resources, it's about like having something of value. And they don't have the gold like the Middle East and China and Russia does, although Russia's part of it. So I think China probably is too. So it's basically like the Middle East is the only one with any real shit. But the importance of this, the Middle East, again, all the links, all the people they've killed recently, USA has killed in the past like 10 years. You can find instances of them saying they're done with Israel, basically. So, yeah, it's a pretty solid link in a case. If you find they all say the same thing, especially when you find the opposite side saying we will deal with you if you refuse to, you know, recognize us and pay tribute to us. So they brag they're going to come after people who do that, and they do. They don't just brag. I mean, they're not just like a normal idiot who's just like, oh, I'm going to beat you up. I mean, I've even dealt with normal idiots who can live up to those expectations, but it's not like an idiot on the internet who's like, we're going to come fight. And it's like, and then you go like try to fight them and they never show up and shit. So, you know, it's not like that. Like, they're really going to fucking, you know, they really do all this shit time and time again. They don't just say they're going to do it and not do it. I wouldn't be where I'm at now if they didn't do it time and time again. So it's just like part of the plan. You know, apparently they're working with the aliens to genocide the rest of the humans because I don't know what exactly reason in their head they like money or they think that's not going to happen to them. But it's not like they're not smart enough to organize some sort of global genocide. Like, so they need the master to tell them what to do next. And master's making bad decisions. But master doesn't care. Master doesn't care because master's got some other slaves who will beat you up if you get fucking too out of hand. Maybe master wants those other slaves to beat you up, period. But you can't fucking keep doing that shit. America's probably not going to be safe to be in. Like I said, they're probably going to start enslaving their own people. I mean, they've already been enslaving their own people, but the people, USA, you know, white supremacists don't care about slavery. Like, it's the weird thing. It kind of like gives them a way out. You're like, well, they don't care about enslaving their own people. It's not about like enslaving any certain group. And it's not 100%. They definitely enslave their own people, but they're really going to start doing this more because they're going to have to because the rest of the world is just going to cut them off. And the only reason the rest of the world's probably not going to kill them right off is because they have so many slaves who fight for them. But I mean, the slaves are going to rebel. They always do. And then the slaves are going to die when they go die trying to take over some nations and shit. And then, you know, the slave population is going to get reduced inside the slave nation. And then the slave nation won't have any more defense. So they could just let it collapse or they could come in and bomb it and blow it up, but I don't think they're going to just let it collapse. I don't think empires just let themselves collapse. That's like a rarity. I mean, especially like when they're already acting this way, they're already willing to, you know, attempt overthrows of France and you know, surrounding nations while they're, I don't know, man. Which nation are they not attempting to take over some surrounding areas of? Like, it just never stopped. So, I mean, people see that. You know, when you get close to Russia and China, they see that shit. They're not like whites. They're I mean, they're really dumb. Like they're not very supreme, but they think that other people are like animal level, like less than. I don't think they're smart enough to know how smart animals are. They think so. What their words is the other people are animal level dumb, but they're what they mean is the other people are dumber than animals, like dumb like rocks and stuff. Because animals are really fucking smart and shit. And these people aren't fucking smarter than animals. But they, just think they can, like, keep doing whatever and no one cares. And they, like, hey, look, they just keep letting us steal their land. They keep letting us invade their nations. Obviously, they like it. They like us coming there to steal everything from them and tell them how to act. And they get a free toaster every time I come there. I bring them free toasters to show them how good it is, how good life in a white world is. They get free toaster. And then we give them a mirror too. A mirror so they can brush their hair and comb it. And you can have white hair and then look white. So they can know what it's like to look white. Yeah. I say it's pathetic. That's literally like what this is about to everyone except for like the top 100 people in charge of the government who just want to kill humans. They just like they're soldiers and they're slaves. Like the average person really is just like they're not white. Let's kill them. And it's like Jesus fucking Christ, that is so fucking stupid. Like especially like when your nation's like already like bankrupt and fucking teetering out of control and shit. It's like you can't just be like, let's try to kill everybody. It's like just hold on to some bucks and try to kill people when they come to kill you off. They'll be coming soon. You can't just be like, ooh, let's throw money into fucking wall against people in a really bad area. It's a really it's a really good strategic military location. You just have to fucking win some really costly fucking wars fucking to gain it because it's strategic for whoever's on it, not for whoever's trying to take it. That's the whole idea of strategic military fucking operations bases is because it's in the good place. It's not a good place to attack. It's in a good place to defend and to launch attacks from. And it is. It really is. It's in a great place to do anything. So they don't really have to bow down. That's probably why they never have really, because there's like just like this little opening on the map where where the U.S. troops could pour through, and they would just like you could just set that land on fire and they would all burn. So it's really dumb, but it just shows their desperation, I guess. They're just addicted to killing people. They're addicted to killing humans and trying to take over the globe. It's like they're crazy people. They're crazy. Like people are like their soldiers are. Their like supporters are fucking crazy, but they're just like king crazy because like they plan it. They're not just like supportive of the global genocide and wiping out of the other species on the planet. They want it to happen. They're like not even smart enough to understand ecosystem balance and like try to kill off a ton of species because the ecosystem like thrives or this or that. Or although of course according to the J, they no one belongs on this planet who's here in one of their little discussions they had. So maybe they are supposed to be separate, but you can tell by the spiders and all that yeah, nation is supposed to be separate. Each nation, its animals and stuff are separate, and you keep them separate from the other ones, or else in the other nations they also take over. But inside that nation, they balance out and shit. But on a global scale, it kind of balances out to have that adjustment, that diversity, because it allows different things like different molecular structures of basically the same plant, you know, equates to different type of plants, and kind of the same with animals, like in insects, probably different spiders have different silks that are like, and I'm pretty sure, I don't think I have to say the word probably, and some might be stronger. Some flowers people might like better than others, and then other people might like those flowers better, or those flowers might have some sort of medicinal property that another flower doesn't have. Shit like that. So you can't just like be like, I'm a tulip, I want to kill all the roses and daffodils, and this tulip is my tulip land. This is my land now. Daffodil, you must get away. It's not about the flowers killing the other flowers to steal the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and trace minerals in the soil. It's about just the tulips fucking psycho, killing everything. Fucking like the carp fish kind of just consumes everything. There's all, I guess there are species who do that. That's why you don't introduce them, and that's how the seas keep the oceans separate, keep the species separate, because they will destroy the ecosystem. They will completely take over all that shit, and it doesn't matter how unhealthy it is for the carp. No one wants the carp around. The carp is nasty, disgusting, but it destroys everything it touches, and if you like let it hang out with you too long, it destroys your ecosystem. If you even introduce it to your ecosystem, it's gone pretty much. So whatever's going on, whether there's robots being programmed, or there's like like demons being programmed, something like that. Same thing. That's kind of what I mean by robots. Or they're like, willingly doing it. It doesn't really matter. It's the same thing they've always been doing. They're not killing anyone for oil. They oil barely anything in a war. Resources do not fund campaigns. Campaigns are led for strategic purposes. So none of this is about oil. It's not about. They're stealing gold. Yeah, the UK just stole. 1.2. The UK just stole billions of gold from this nation, and that's because the UK is thieves. Their empire is world renowned for its thievery and everything it's done. At one point in time, we acted like we destroyed that empire, but it looks like at that point we must have just handed off. We became the scapegoat at that point. We still are the scapegoat, but it really is their soldiers here now. Like you can tell, the alt right is definitely their soldiers. Um, but the liberals work by just causing chaos in people's minds, and so it's still just as effective. Like if I had 1 million accounts on the internet, I could go around every day fucking, spreading propaganda, times that by 100 or 200, 200 million. That would be like what the liberals can do, and do. So it doesn't really matter, like, if you're for it or not. You can distract people long enough that the criminal can sneak in, your friend can sneak in their back door and fucking steal all their shit. And That's pretty much the liberals' job when the Republicans are in office, and that's the Republicans' job when the liberals are in office, to just distract you while their pal slips in through your back door and picks up the goodies. So I've even noticed though in the last year, like the liberals haven't tried really hard to even put on a mask like they care about anything but Donald Trump. So they don't even care about like that anymore. You know, talking about Israel, it's just like it doesn't matter. It's like Israel's there to stay. They helped it happen. It's like a cancer that just keeps growing. And the liberals help all this. They just put out like they merely shout slogans like anti-Nazi and stuff like that, but they really don't want to like fight that. They want to help it happen. That's why they'll be like, oh, it's war for oil, not war for, them stealing land to expand the Jewish Anglo-Saxon empires. Um, they just fucking distract people left and right with nonsense and bullshit. And that's because it's the same people who own their media who own the other media, so it's all the same people. And even in South America, like they own a large portion of that media, obviously, because their largest media host dude died not too long ago, and then they bragged how much they loved him because he was one of them. And there's no point in thinking that they're lying in Israel about who's who. They can tell the truth there. They talk about how they love Trump so much in Israel, yet he's the new Nazi. It's like, well, that means either he's not a Nazi or the Nazis are someone else. And he is the Nazis. They just don't want to tell you that either. They don't want to tell you the proof of that because they don't want you to, like, nail down those things with facts. They don't want you to nail that down with facts and information. They don't want you to be able to say, "Oh, I'm saying Trump's a Nazi," more than just because I want to say Trump's a Nazi. And they don't want you to know that Zionists are in control or what Zionist means. Um, because if you put that fact together with the fact that Trump's a Nazi and a Zionist and his backers are really the Nazis, and that means his backers are Zionists, but at the same time, his backers, the whole point to the Nazis is to supposedly be against who the Zionists are, then that blows all that out of the water if you can even touch those. So they put out those narratives, but they don't back up those narratives with any facts because it's not facts. There is no facts to Russia took over America. Um, there's probably plenty of blackmail and plenty of people like Donald Trump working with people of all nationalities. But Russia didn't take over America because uh, it's like the same people. Like the Russians, I don't even think are white. I don't think they would. At the end of the day, like in their best interest, they wouldn't work with America. They look like they're Asian mix. So it wouldn't work in their best interest to work with the UK, and it never has. Apparently, like on all, it doesn't matter if they are working with the globalist Jews. At the end of the day, they have always been at wars with the Western Europe. That's why they call it like Eastern. They have special names. You're supposed to know that means Russia. Like we're from the east of Europe and stuff like this. It's like I like a lot of times those nations like they don't tell you where they're from. They use special terms like East Europe and stuff like that, and it's like Well, they just want to be separate. They want to be known to be separate, so that they probably are slightly separate. But at the end of the day, they work together to push a lot of bullshit together. So it's hard to tell. But and, you can point it to the same 20 people who control all the media, and everyone wants to blame Rothschild, but there's more to it than that. There's like millions of fucking Americans calling to kill whoever America needs to kill next for dollars, to retain control of the world. Like literally, that's what making America great is about to most people. It's about showing the world that they can kill everyone. The odd thing is I'm like, I'm looking at the picture of them speaking there at Venezuela, and a presidential portrait of someone in the history in the past. It's like a white person or some shit, like behind their leaders. Like, and I opened the video talking about how they worship the people who already conquered them. So it's like, are they already conquered or not? And like, why do they care so much? Maybe it is just a distraction, and it already was conquered, and they're just trying to act different. But I don't know. Chavez kind of acted like different. In imposing Israel, it doesn't matter, even if the French are, um, whatever the French are doing. Once they start opposing Israel, that's when they need thrown out of office. And you need Le Pen with her Jewish boyfriend put in office to save you from Macron. Because you need Le Pen and her Jewish boyfriend to save you from Macron. Because he's. No, I don't have any pets right now. Hey, what's up? 78 Sound. What's up, everyone else? They just want to take over Venezuela. That's all. It's just another country. I don't get too much into the details because it's pointless. It's just the same thing. They just need more money to steal from. They need more money. Their addiction to blood. It's like an addiction to blood. They just want to kill people. So they pick weak people, and then they also said something against Israel. Like that seems to be a bottom line with all these people, that we must help rebel against their government. They all stopped paying tribute to Israel at one point in time. That's that that's the best bet I can come up with for what exactly is happening there, George. He probably did threaten boots on the ground. Venezuela's been like anti-Israel for like 20 years. I suppose over the past 30 years, all that talk I've heard of anti-South America, anti-Chavez, probably was related to some of this. Because they've been not pro-Israel for a long time. So I can see why they want them gone. But it's more than that. They just want to take it. It's like it's another part of America. And it's like it actually is part of America, unlike the United States. Fucking, it's actually another part of America that I don't know. They must be getting hoity-toity, out of control. The Israel remarks. It's once everyone says Israel remarks, you've got to go. They bragged about that too. Like, there's not too many people who say you got to go once you say this or that, but they said that in Israel. Anyone who opposes us has got to go. Pretty much, they said we're going to change your mind, and we know that doesn't mean they're going to bring you candy and flowers and try to uh, convince you they're the best lover in the world. So this is really what it boils down to every time. Macron says something anti-Israel. 2 months later, there are people overthrowing his nation, and These people have always been that way. People are overthrowing their nation. Gaddafi said something about Palestinians are good people, and he had to fucking go. And I went out. Saddam said this similar shit, like, hey, Palestinians are people too, and so he had to go. So pretty much, I have no doubt that they said something, but apparently this is kind of real because the Jews like actually ran from this place a while back. They don't feel safe there anymore. But they then again they said that about Russia too. I don't know anything about their media. I can't say for sure what's going on, but it seems like that they've been like a bogeyman for a long time. And it makes sense that America would want to take that over if it's whether it's if they're there already taking it over and you just don't see that on the outside that we cover it took them over a long time ago, or they're really about to take it over. They need to take that over if they want to deal with some border issue, because that is the border. Looks like that's like part of the reason for sometimes claiming Puerto Rico is our 51st state, is to control that border and to keep that. But at the same time, it's also because the empire doesn't know when to stop growing. So it's on the edge of the empire. Eventually, it has to take it in. You know, like your grass is starting to look like shit. You fucking salted your land. Your crops aren't growing too well. You're looking over at your neighbor's yard, and they aren't using all their land. They don't need that. So let's go get Venezuela's land. They don't need that. They don't need, and they started converting to gold. They did that too. I found out that's another, the libertarians probably can already tell you that. That's another link. Once they start converting to gold rather than buying U.S. bonds or something like that, then you got to go, because gold's like the second or third real currency. People think oil is so important, but it's really more like energy than gold than U.S. dollars. Oil's like a mind game. It's not even a fucking like seriously and like economic weight, because they can just speculate it. Now they can speculate everything, but with gold, with oil, they just kind of use it as like political propaganda. Like they'll like raise the price and then put a new president in and then drop the price a little bit and be like, look, the president's doing so well. He dropped gas prices by $1. But it's like, dude, gas prices like $3. I remember when I was a kid, like, I don't even remember when I was a kid, but I remember when I was younger. It was like $1 if you're lucky, right? If you get ripped off, you paying a little extra. You had to stop at a place you don't normally go to. You'd be paying $1.28 a gallon. Yeah, but gold's not gonna have strict value like right after, and then it would become worthless if things got real bad. Gold would become worthless. But inside America, you buy gold, the government's just going to take it from you. They did that last time, and who's going to stop them? No one stopped them last time. They just came in and took your fucking gold. And I always find that weird that the libertarians are telling us to buy gold, but they're the ones also telling us the government took the fucking gold at one point. And I mean, if you have plenty of money, you can invest it in all sorts of ways. But if you don't have any money, you can't buy any gold. So better buy yourself a can of baked beans or something with that $1.50 in your pocket. Shit. Make sure try not to buy the kind of baked beans that has like 50% sodium per serving, because you'll die from eating that shit if you have to go to emergency supplies. That stuff doesn't feel good to eat like one day. You have to, like, I do have like canned goods to last me for a while. And when I like rotate them out, I get sick from trying to eat too much of that. Like if half the day's meals is the canned goods, it's always so high in sodium. I like swell up really bad when I'm sleeping and shit. So I don't know. I don't know what to invest in. I don't have money to invest right now. I invest in like shit I do. So, but I invested in some silver a while back. Silver did go up 3 times the price after that, but I haven't looked at any commodities. I don't know what it'll be like. Yeah, I was thinking of getting a van and pimping it out. So, so the van, so I can do anything, man. Get out of here. Get out of this city. That can be expensive though. I'm not sure how that works living in a camper or a van because I know with my car, like you have problems generating enough energy to keep electronical things running. And I would suppose it gets worse when you try to like, live in a van or live in a camper. You probably have to recharge your battery a lot or something, right? I was watching a tour, more says Prince tour guide. They did like a tour, whatever, videos of their tour, and even their shit. Okay, yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna close this off. Okay, yeah. So the battery died. Whatever. I was done anyways.